Welcome to What's Up, Bolts? I'm Fernando Ramirez. That guy right there with the sunglasses and the cowboy hat must be Dan and Dago. Dan, how are we feeling today on this on the eve of not the eve, but a couple of days away from the Chargers taking on the Dolphins?
It's just like I tell everybody at school, there's no bad days. No bad days. Daniel Island is always firing on all cylinders, and we're not going to let things out of our control influence his mood anymore. But look at this. It was ugly sweater day for Al at school. Look at that. I was letting all the – oh, dang, I was reaching on the wrong side. The camera failed me. I was letting all those youngsters know who the best club in the world is.
So you took that ugly face and that ugly sweater to school?
What?
So you took that ugly face and that ugly sweater to school?
I was batting 1,000 today. I don't know what to tell you. I was ready.
I'm kidding.
Hey, it doesn't bother me. I know.
Obviously, so just to give a little context, right now the Chargers are 6-6. The Dolphins are 8-4. The Dolphins did stay. They played San Francisco on over last weekend. They did lose. They did stay in California. They're at UCLA practicing the whole week. And they will be there until Sunday. So they pulled a little Bill Belichick in that sense of staying out here in the West Coast, not going back home. So that's pretty interesting. So obviously the Dolphins
they showed up in San Francisco for Al. I didn't see them last Sunday. They were there.
Yeah, exactly. And folks, by the way, sometimes you guys get a little bit too crazy with Dan and Dago, and you guys have to remember, sometimes he's just parroting, he's just having fun like the rest of us, just relax.
Comedy is subjective, Frau.
Dan and Dago is not a reporter. He doesn't pretend to be one.
Exactly. That's big facts right there. It's like I tell some of the kids when I'm subbing for math, they ask me, "Are you grading our test?" I was like, if I'm grading your math test, you should be afraid because I have no idea what the hell is going on in this class.
You're like in Stifler and American Union. Hey, you're gonna have to do all that crap because I didn't know what the hell I was doing with any of that stuff.
Exactly.
So basically, the Dolphins, they had a little bit of a weird game against San Francisco. San Francisco's been very good. Their defense has been very good all season. So it was no surprise that they were able to slow down Tua in this offense. They had Tua throw 2 interceptions. Skylar Thomas threw 1 interception. So that's 3 interceptions that they threw. They sacked Tua 3 times. They disrupted him. He didn't look like the regular Tua Tagovailoa that we've seen all season. He was throwing passes into the ground. He was doing. He wasn't able to hit his receivers
all over the place.
Tyreek Hill was still Tyreek Hill. 9 catches, 146 yards, 1 touchdown. The real interesting part about this is Jaylen Waddle, 1 catch, 9 yards. Jaylen was dealing with kind of an ankle injury, and we won't know if Jaylen will play. He was limited in practice with a fibula injury on Wednesday. So I mean that's a good sign for them. But we'll see if he goes or not. At the end of the game, he was kind of walking off. But yeah, so it was just an interesting game all around. Obviously, the 49ers took it to them. They won 33-17. Before we get into the Dolphins, I got to let you guys know, we have a compa that's going to jump on with us. Alain Poupart, who covers the Dolphins for SI/Fan Nation, AllDophins.com. Go check it out. Alain is one of the guys that'll keep it real. He's not like some of these other reporters who are leaning one side or the other when it comes to Justin Herbert or Tua Tagovailoa, not pom-pomming for one or the other. He keeps it real. I see some things that I like from Tua. I see some things that I like from Justin. Allen is the same way. He'll point out the good, the bad, the ugly. So that's what I like. I like having people that keep it real. We're going to have Allen on in a little bit.
You have got to be physical up front on both sides of the football. That's why San Francisco is so successful. People don't understand that. They're so successful because their front 7 is elite. Their front 5 are very good, and they run a very good run. They have a very good run game, and it's so creative because they never know. The defensive linemen, when you play San Francisco 49ers, they never know what they're going to get. They're going to get a base block, zone block, cuts, counters. They don't know. They have no idea, and they're always on edge.
When we come back after this interview with Allen, we're going to see what Brandon Staley had to say about the week and break down a little bit more about the game. But like I said, Alain is a great guy. You're going to want to listen to everything he had to say. Here we go. Let's go with Alain now and go with that interview. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys know this is called Compas on the Beat. That's the network. A real compa of mine has been Alain Poupart, who joins us now. He is a Sports Illustrated and Fan Nation Network publisher of AllDophins. He's a compa, like I said, known him for a while, since 2020 when I was at SI. We stayed friends. We stay connected with each other, and we give each other little shots here and there. But great guy. Thank you so much, Alain, for joining the show.
Absolutely. You got it, Fernando.
So, Alain, obviously, the Dolphins have gone through a whole different makeup. I mean, I got to start off with Coach Mike McDaniel. I met him during the Combine. Funny guy, interesting guy. He kind of walks to the beat of his own drum. What's it been like to cover somebody like Mike McDaniel?
Well, I tell you what, it's different than probably any other coach that's come around the Dolphins in a long, maybe it probably ever actually. I don't even know why I'm trying to look for a precedent. And it's, I mean, talk about like night and day compared to the previous coach, Brian Flores, who was very like, sir, yes, sir, drill sergeant type, very by the book, very serious, no nonsense. And you mentioned Mike McDaniel's personality. Let's call it quirky. He is unlike any other head coach. I mean, he's quick to make little jokes. Like Monday, somebody asked him about Justin Herbert's arm, and he's like, "Yeah, he got one. He's actually got two." Stuff like that. It's not the kind of thing you hear an NFL head coach say. I mean, no matter how dorky or cheesy you think it might be. And he's quick with the wit, self-deprecating humor as well, and he gives like long answers to questions. He's very cerebral. But having said all that, watching his offense has just been an absolute joy. I mean, the dude can coach X's and O's on offense like nobody's business, and that's made the biggest difference. Along with the fact that he's instilled confidence in his players by constantly having their back, constantly supporting them. There are not that many coaches in the NFL who like out and out criticize players in the media, but there are some who will say like it is if a guy had a bad game. And McDaniel is basically always protecting his players. Not going to out and out lie and say the guy had a great game if he didn't, but he's always like, kind of couching it. He's always going to take the blame. And there's a great clip on YouTube after a play from the game against the 49ers on Sunday, after a play, I guess that went awry, and it's a close-up of him talking to two in the huddle. And then you can read McDaniel saying, "No, I effed up." Yeah. Not the word he used, but no, I'm the one who effed up. So I think that the players really, really like that. It's a very long-winded way to answer your question. In terms of what it's like to cover him, it's completely different. Yeah. But the result, what matters most for us, it's like I've always said this as like in my head coach, give me a guy who's going to make the team win, or give me a guy who's great with the media. He's great with the media in the sense that he's very congenial and all that, and he's friendly and he's interesting to listen to. It's not that he's terribly revealing, but doesn't exactly make him unique among NFL coaches. But more importantly, so far he's got the Dolphins winning, and that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, no, and the most interesting part about it was, for me, watching from the outside in, is that I feel like he told Stephen Ross, "Hey, how much money we got?" Stephen opened up the wallet and said, "How much do you need?" And I feel like he really went in there. They trade for Tyreek Hill. They get Teron Armstead. They build the offensive line up. They go get weapons, and they do everything that they need to do to really give that offense a new look. Just what's been one of the things that you've noticed from the Mike McDaniel offense that's maybe unique and folks who don't necessarily watch Dolphins week in and week out should know?
Well, before I answer that, let me interject here real quick, because you mentioned Stephen Ross opening his playbook. Say what you want about the guy. Spending money has never, ever, ever been an issue with him. So I want to put that out there, because I know there are a lot of criticisms, a lot of invalid about what kind of owner he is. But as far as spending money, never been an issue. As far as McDaniel's offense, here's the thing is, he came to the Dolphins with this reputation as the running game guru and all that. Well, guess what? they're not running the ball that much. And why is that? Well, because they got Tyreek Hill and they got Jaylen Waddle, who basically are, one guy is easily the fastest player in the NFL, and the other one is in the conversation for number 2. So McDaniel, this is where he's smart enough to go, well, yeah, I'm supposed to run the ball. Well, guess what? If I run the ball and focus on that, then I'm not taking advantage of the most unique personnel in the NFL, and that would be crazy to do that. So he's done that. And whether it's Hill's speed that makes such a difference, or McDaniel's play designs and schemes, watch the Dolphins play, and those wide receivers are open. And I mean, not just a little bit, constantly. And Tua Tagovailoa is, as McDaniel himself said, a very good point guard. If the guy's open in the short to intermediate range, generally speaking, he's going to get him the ball. And those guys have been wide open, and Tua's getting them the ball. So you see the numbers are prodigious for both Tua and for the offense.
When you look at Tua, it seems like his confidence has really grown. I see he's been clapping back at the media a little bit, talking about his long ball recently and everything. But do you feel like McDaniel's kind of instilled that confidence back into him? Because, I mean, we've seen with the injuries and everything that he kind of maybe had lost his confidence a little bit. But do you feel like with this new regime has kind of helped him gain his confidence? And obviously having those 2 weapons out on the sideline is also maybe made him regain his confidence?
Oh, I mean, no question. And that's the biggest thing that McDaniel has done for Tua. Above and beyond the X's and O's and scheming everything up, is he's basically thrown his support behind him in a loud public way from the start. It started when, right after McDaniel was hired, there was a famous FaceTime phone call to Tua from the plane bringing him to South Florida that the Dolphins social media team captured, and it didn't stop from there. At every turn, he was pumping the guy's tires. And not only him, Tyreek Hill, after he got traded, Tyreek Hill would not stop praising him, throwing stuff like, he's probably the most accurate quarterback I've ever played with. Well, that took off because he played with Patrick Mahomes. And from a short to intermediate range, Tua might be more accurate than Patrick Mahomes. You just can't make the crazy throws that Mahomes does on a regular basis or make plays off schedule. But from a pure accuracy, short to intermediate range, sure. And then the thing is, this came off of a great CBS nugget from their game against Houston in week 12, where apparently Tua told the CBS crew in their pre-production meetings that he would look himself in the mirror at times last year and ask himself, am I good enough? Well, that stemmed in part from the fact that his production in the first 2 years wasn't that great. And I understand they were extenuating circumstances, but he wasn't playing great either. Wasn't just because of the circumstances. And you also had a head coach in Brian Flores, who clearly was not a huge fan. And then there were obviously very public, I don't want to even say whispers. It was well known the Dolphins were thinking about trading for Deshaun Watson. And then they were trying to angle to make a trade for Tom Brady. Well, Tua's not stupid. And regardless of what he might say, he's well aware of what's going on. So there's reason for his confidence to be a little bit maybe not as high, because, you got an organization here that won't stop looking at other quarterbacks. You got a head coach who doesn't believe in him. And Mike McDaniel came in and basically said, no. And there came a point in this offseason, and in fact, I may have started at the combine there. I asked General Manager Chris Greer very point blank at the combine, are you guys going to revisit the idea of pursuing Deshaun Watson, or is that door closed? And he basically told me or told us, there was a group of reporters, that no, it was done, that they were moving forward to. And then when this was shortly after they had hired Mike McDaniel, it became pretty obvious that they wanted a head coach who was going to throw his weight behind Tua, who basically convinced them that they had a plan to make it work with Tua, which McDaniel clearly had. And then when the opportunity came for them to acquire Tyreek Hill in the trade with the Chiefs, then, what's the expression, the horse out of the barn, or whatever you want to say.
Yeah. I wonder if also it might be like, I wonder if because they're in the same draft class, these guys look at each other and they're like, I don't know, maybe Justin's like, oh, wow, Joe Burrow made it to the Super Bowl. And then Tua goes, oh, well, Justin Herbert and and Joe Burrow are having a lot of success, and I'm over here kind of still dealing with that. So I wonder if maybe, because you know how Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, and Eli were always tied to the hip, and you know these draft classes are sometimes tied to the hip. So I wonder if maybe that had something to do with it. But now all three quarterbacks are playing well. But can you talk just about what this organization, what it's meant for this organization to trade for Tyreek Hill?
Game changer. I mean, that's point blank game changer. I think they were going to be much improved offensively, regardless, just because of Mike McDaniel. But acquiring him, I mean, holy smokes! I wrote a month ago or 6 weeks ago that to me Tyreek Hill belongs in the NFL MVP conversation, and if we were going purely on merit, I still would tell you the same thing. To me, he's the Dolphin MVP, and I know that's not going to play well in Miami, especially among Tua fans who would tell you, no, it's all Tua. No, sorry, it's not all Tua. And the thing with Tyreek Hill is, I mean, you've seen him play, and we've seen him, and it's if you're covering a different team, you look at him and, wow, that guy's good. And then first practice, I see him, he runs around, and I'm like, whoa. I mean, that's stupid speed. It's a different kind of speed. I mean, Jaylen Waddle's fast, and Tyreek Hill makes him look like me running the 40-yard dash. I mean, it's insane. And then you see how opposing defenses play him. There was a catch against San Francisco on Sunday. He sprints down the field about 15 yards, and you see the DB's giving him like 6-7 yards because he's scared he's going to get beat over the top. And Tyreek just turns around. It's an easy pitch and catch, and boom, 15-yard completion. And then you see Tua's crazy numbers, and which are getting pumped up all over the place about like the best deep passing numbers. Well, deep passing numbers, 10 or 15 yards is the criteria. Dolphins have lived the entire season on deep 15-yard ins, 20-yard deep slants and all that, because those receivers are so wide open, partly because defenses are so scared of Tyreek Hill's speed. And that's opened up everything for this offense. I mean, I can't, again, he's not going to win the MVP because of this ridiculous bias. It's got to be a quarterback. In a very rare occasion, it's going to be a running back, which is usually going to be the quarterback. But if we're going to really assess the value of a player for his team, to me, I think Tyreek Hill is up there with anybody.
I completely agree. And for skill set alone, just for Jaylen Waddle, that must mean the world to have somebody like Tyreek. But they reached in and got another AFC West player a couple of weeks ago in Bradley Chubb. Man, that team is stacked with pass rushers. You got Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, former Charger Melvin Ingram. It just feels like that's kind of the bread and butter of the Dolphins. How has life been for the Dolphins since the acquisition of Bradley Chubb?
Not as great as you would think. You would think with those three guys, on defense rushing from the edge, that their pass rush would be a terror. And it really hasn't been. It really hasn't been. They got a lot of work from their pass rush against Houston in week 12, but it's Houston. No offense to the great people in that city in Texas, but that's a bad team. And then Sunday against the 49ers, it was Nick Bosa who wrecked the game from a pass rush standpoint. It wasn't either Bradley Chubb. It wasn't Ingram, even though each of them had a sack, but they weren't as impactful. And that's the hope. The pass rush was really poor early in the season. Even though Melvin Ingram won AFC Defensive Player of the Month for September, and I can tell you with all due respect, when that announcement was made, I was like, he did? Because he happened to be in the right spot twice to pick up fumbles, one of which he returned for a touchdown. But he's made some plays here and there, but he's not getting a ton of snaps. I mean, he normally in the 30 range, maybe even less than that. But he's made plays. He's made an impact. Chubb hasn't been a game wrecker so far. The hope is that he's going to become one. And the thing with the Dolphin defense, and you'll remember this from the Chargers game in 2020, is they used to bring 7-8 guys up to the line before the snap. And then they would cover 0, and then they would sometimes send 5 or 6, sometimes drop everybody back and just confuse the hell out of opposing defenses. And in fact, great anecdote here, and I'm sure you remember this, the day after that Charger game in 2020, Keenan Allen made the comment of like, we were completely confused on off. I had never heard an offensive player say that after a game. It was like, and you could tell they looked completely bamboozled. Well, they've been without Baron Jones the entire year, so they don't have the luxury of having the 2 stud cornerbacks that allows them the freedom to put everybody near the line. So they've had to rely more often on a traditional pass rush, and it hasn't been there. There's been, I'd say, a slight uptick since Chubb was acquired at the trade deadline, but not yet to the point where the pass rush is something to be feared game in and game out, as you can say with the 49ers or let's say the Raiders, who the Chargers got familiar with on Sunday when they kept being all over Jason.
No, that was a pretty rough game for them. When Xavier Howard has been one of these guys that I think he's asked for a contract extension or a renewal of his contract about twice already, I think, if I'm not mistaken. How's he played this season?
He got his new contract. Actually, he literally requested a trade, if you remember, in August. Or no, actually, late July of 2021. Yep. They adjusted his contract last year with a promise to renegotiate this offseason, which they did. They gave him a new contract, and he has not had a typical Xavier Howard season. He had his first pick on Sunday, and even that came on a 4th down where him catching the ball cost the Dolphins 20 yards of field position. Because had he just batted it down.
Yeah.
But no, and he's dealt with groin issues for a bit. I think that probably bothered him, let's say 5 or 6 games. And the whole combination, the pass rush hasn't been as good. So that makes it more difficult on the coverage because, it works hand in hand. But he's starting to get back to his old form a little bit. Had a good game on Sunday against the 49ers beyond just the pick. But not quite yet the Xavier Howard of old. Could he get back to that spot? Maybe, but at this point, I think it'd be foolish to expect Byron Jones to come back at some point. It almost looks like a lost year for him.
That'll be interesting. Just a couple more for you, Alan. I know you're a busy man. You got a busy day. So the offensive line, they've had the left tackle, Teron Armstead, and then Austin Jackson. They didn't play on Sunday. I think Jackson was put on IR, if I'm correct. Mm-hmm. And Teron Armstead, what do you feel like he might play this weekend?
Yeah, that's iffy. I know Mike McDaniel was asked about that yesterday, Monday, and he said he's going to do everything he can. The hope is to get him out of practice, but you're talking about a pectoral strain, which normally, depending on the grade, can be anywhere like 2 to 4 weeks or 2 to 6 weeks or something. So maybe he does play. I can tell you this: they did sign Eric Fisher, the former Chiefs left tackle, to join the team. Whether he's ready to help out immediately, maybe, who knows? But no, it'll come down to with the thing with Armstead is great player, long injury history, never played 16 games or a full season ever in his career. He was hoping this would be the year, but then boom, game 1 against New England, has a toe injury. He's been on the injury report with that toe injury the entire year. Had to miss a game and 3 quarters early in the season in October. Then he had the pectoral injury.
Is it the pinky toe?
I don't know.
Those are the ones the little one is the one that hurts the most, Alan.
Yeah, maybe that, but the big one's the one that's the most important. Remember, Sergeant Hulk was our big toe. So yeah, I don't know. The deal with him, every week he's probably going to be listed as questionable on Friday. He actually was listed as doubtful this past week before the 49ers game and then didn't play. My guess is he's going to be probably DNP limited this week or DNP limited, DNP, one of those. He's probably going to practice one day. He's going to be listed as questionable, and we probably won't know until Sunday morning. And then if he doesn't play, the question is going to become, is Eric Fisher ready to contribute right away and start at left tackle, or do they go back to Greg Little, the former Carolina Panthers second-round pick?
Oh, Greg Litter, I remember that guy. Again, thank you so much, Alan, for doing this. Obviously, I've waited 19 minutes and 47 seconds to ask you about this, but are Dolphins fans foaming at the mouth to see Tua Tagovailoa versus Justin Herbert this weekend? How excited are they for it? Because I see them on Twitter and they're very vicious. I'm like, yo, I'm just a reporter. Like I don't have a stake in this. So they've been it's been funny to see them.
Yeah, no, it's and the Dolphin fan base is wow. I've covered this team for more than 30 years. I also follow Twitter, and now, or going back, I have never ever seen a segment of fans be as protective of a player as Tua fans are with him. Oh my God, like Kurt Warner, for example, of NFL Network, the Hall of Famer from the Rams, made a comment a couple of weeks ago. I'm paraphrasing, but something along the lines of like, Tua may not have the best arm, but he's making it work with his accuracy and his timing and all that. And he got ripped to pieces because he dared to say that Tua didn't have an NFL arm or an NFL average arm or something like that. It's like for some of them, you cannot say one thing. And then, so the game against Justin Herbert is going to be seen as validation, because you have no idea how many times you see comments of like, well, if Justin Herbert is so good, look at his record. Tua's got a better record and all that. And if Justin Herbert is so great, how come the Chargers didn't make the playoffs last year?
I can tell you why.
No, I know why too. Conveniently, looking at the fact that they can't run the ball and they can't stop the run, and they can't protect the quarterback, which is basically the same thing this year.
Just little things like that. Just little things.
Minor detail. And then you go back and then you have like, well, see, Tua this year is now he's 8-1 in games he starts and finishes. Well, not mentioning the fact that Teron Armstead missed a game and 3/4 in that 3-game losing streak in the middle of the year, that the defense didn't record a single takeaway in those 3 games, that the game against the Steelers on Sunday night, the Dolphins had 3 picks and the Steelers dropped 4 potential interceptions that easily could have been a loss. But all they look at is strictly 1-loss record. And then if the Dolphins win on Sunday, which they very well could, because overall they're a clearly better team than the Chargers, then it's going to be, well, Tua is better than Herbert. Herbert could be on his back the entire game, throw for 297 yards, make some ridiculous throws like he always does. But if the Dolphins win, it'll be Tua is better than Herbert. The Dolphins win.
And Alan, that's what happened on Sunday. And I know I believe you might have caught the game, but that's what happened on Sunday. He threw for 335 yards, got hit 14 times, and was sacked 5 times. And it's like, he would hike the ball and literally there would be a guy on him. And I'm not defending him. I think the kid has ridiculous talent. I think he's incredible. But if he got protected a lot better, I think he could definitely he could be a lot better. But you need a minor upgrade with his weaponry. But definitely, I mean, it was a rough game to watch, because you could see like literally Derek Carr's jersey is just black with the white lettering, and Herbert's is all like, it's literally a Miami Dolphins green, covered in green, just because that's how many times he hit the dirt. So it was not a good look, but it'll be a fun game. I'm excited to see it. Do you have a prediction for the game yet, or are you going to wait till later in the week?
Well, yeah, here's what I'm going to tell you. Because I as part of my comprehensive game preview that can be found on AllDophins.com on Saturday morning, I include a score prediction. What I will tell you at this point is, as I mentioned before, the Dolphins clearly overall are a better team than the Chargers, and it's a game that logic tells you they should win. I mean, they're much more sound all over the place, particularly, I mean, I know Bosa's not playing. Mike Williams, probably very iffy. I don't know the status of Corey Linsley. I know he's still like in concussion protocol.
He's still in concussion protocol.
The right tackle, Pipkins, I don't
still has that knee injury. He's day to day, according to Brandon Staley. So
it's an insanely, I said that on another podcast. It's an insanely flawed 6-6 team, to the point where I look at them and goes, how the hell are they 6-6? And I think that's a tip of the hat to Herbert, because as not a great team. And I'm not even touching the coaching. I'm not even touching the coaching.
Well, Alan, we appreciate it so much for you jumping on. Don't forget to go check out All Things Dolphins with Alan, All Dolphins on Fan Nation and Sports Illustrated. This is the guy that's going to tell you legit how it is. That's why Alan and I are such good friends. He even puts on his Twitter, he's like straight shooter. And that's why Alan and I get along so well, because he is a straight shooter. I'm a straight shooter. There's no BS with either one of us. So, and make sure to check out his Twitter. It's at POUPART NFL. So make sure you guys check out all of his stuff. Great stuff, like I said. So I appreciate you, Alan, for jumping on What's Up Bolts.
My pleasure, Fernando. Anytime.
And good stuff from Alan. Obviously, he breaks it down, says that the Dolphins are a good team, but that they also have some holes. Interesting that they have Melvin Ingram, they have Jalen Phillips, and they have Bradley Chubb. But Alan says that they were not really generating the pass rush that they want. For the Chargers fans and for Justin Herbert's sake, they're going to be hoping that they don't find it this weekend when they have to play the Chargers in that pass rush. I mean, like I said, last week against the Raiders, the Chargers gave up 5 sacks, 14 quarterback hits, and Herbert was pressured, I think, over 20 times. So it was not good to see, obviously. But now let's get into a little bit of what's going on this week, or what's been going on. So obviously on Wednesday, Brandon Staley had his press conference, and one concerning aspect of the press conference was when good friend of the show, Jeff Miller, asked him.
Shout out for Jeffrey.
He tells Brandon, hey, I know it was only a walkthrough, but Derwin James missed practice. And he goes, he says, yeah, he did. And then he's like, is that something from the Raider game? And he goes, no, it's something lingering from the Arizona game. And he's like, is it concerning? He's like, we will see. He's day to day. And we're all like, wait, what? So there's a little bit of cause for concern for Derwin James, who, by the way, congratulations to Derwin James. We have to shout him out.
Shout out.
Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee for the Chargers. You already know I cover a lot of his events. He does a lot of good stuff in the community. He goes out into the community. He works at the Boys and Girls Club there in Santa Ana. Dan, you were there and you heard what the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club said. Derwin donates. He donates vision tests. He donates food. He does a lot of different stuff there to help the community out. And he says it's incredible to have to partner with somebody like Derwin, because Derwin's always concerned. During the pandemic, Derwin would always call and say, hey, is there anything you guys need? Can I send something? Is there anything I can do? I know I can't be in person, but at least let me do some stuff. During the pandemic, he let them go on. He gave each of them $100 and let them go on a shopping spree at Dick's Sporting Goods. So just a little bit of the things that Derwin does, which is pretty cool to see. But going back to it, it should be a little bit nerve-wracking, because if you don't have Derwin James, it's going to be a tough game, especially 100%. With the weapons that the Dolphins present. So it's going to be interesting, something to monitor for this week. But today, Jim Hill from CBS was there, and legend. He used to play for the Chargers. Now he's been a legendary reporter for in LA for years now. And Jim asked Brandon Staley point blank, like, hey, there's how are you guys feeling with everything going on? I mean, there is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel where you guys are still in a playoff position. Right now, the Chargers sit at 8th. The Patriots have a tough schedule. The Patriots have the third hardest schedule to finish the season. The Jets have the second hardest, and those are the two teams that are ahead of them. The only thing is the Raiders are coming. Pittsburgh Steelers have kind of gained a little bit of ground as well behind them. So he kind of asked Brandon, hey, Brandon, so how are you feeling when it comes to everything going on? Let's see what Brandon Staley had to say on that.
You got to put a roof on the explosive plays. They can get them a lot of different ways with a variety of players. They have outstanding team speed, and they have a lot of guys who can get.
My bad. This is Brandon Staley actually talking about the defense, about the offense of the Miami Dolphins, and he's talking about what they're going to need to do to stop that defense, especially because of all the weapons that it has. So I'm going to restart that, and that's basically what Brandon Staley's talking about. He's talking about the way that defense plays.
You got to put a roof on the explosive plays. They can get them a lot of different ways with a variety of players. They have outstanding team speed, and they have a lot of guys who can get deep within the coverage. They also have guys who can catch it short and then turn short plays into big plays. They've got two outstanding runners who are also good pass receivers. They've been in that offense for a lot of years now, Mostert and Wilson, really quality players. And then Gesicki is a big play tight end. He can really make plays in the deep part of the field. So they have outstanding skill players, and that's why you're seeing production from their offense.
So obviously, Dan, he's talking there about some of the playmakers that they have on their team. Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle are no joke. I think they're the second and the fifth receivers in the NFL when it comes to stats. Let me pull that up real quick. But those guys are no joke. They really are. They really are killing it right now. And I know they had an off day. I know they had an off day against the 49ers, but the Chargers need to be careful because they can take the top off of this defense at any time. Tyreek Hill, 1,379 yards.
Jaylen Waddle of my fantasy team.
Jaylen Waddle, 972 yards. That's incredible. I mean, that's really something else. How many? So Tua has 2,859 yards. Okay, yeah. So that's definitely so between them, they have over 2,000 yards of 2,300 yards of offense and 11 touchdowns combined. So that's how good those two guys have been. So when Dan just explains for some of the folks that don't know, when Brandon says put a roof over your head, what does that mean?
It basically means keep everything in front of you. You don't want to get beat behind because that's when you get embarrassed. And you get those 80-yard bombs that are obviously go for scores. Luckily, they're playing Tua Tagovailoa, and he's not going to throw no 80-yard bombs. He's going to throw maybe a 10, 15-yard slant that's going to turn into 80 yards. But, you always want to keep everything in front of you with the speed, and that's why safeties are going to be crucial this week over the top or whatever type of coverages they're going to be running. And obviously, they need to have a pass rush this week, but having essentially only Khalil Mack out there with, who knows who's left on there. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough without a doubt because Mike McDaniel has proven to be an intelligent coach, doing different things, trying to be innovative like Shanahan when he was over there with him. And I think it's going to pay dividends. I think it's going to be a very tough game defensively, trying to stop this Miami offense.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, yeah, they're going to have their struggles. They're going to need to keep everything in front of them. Would you be a little bit nervous with Michael Davis and Asante Samuel Jr. when it comes to defending those two guys?
The biggest thing, I would be a little bit yes, because the biggest thing is this: Tyreek Hill already has experience against you. He was in the AFC West for 4 or 5 years. I have no idea how many. And the thing is, he knows exactly the weaknesses of maybe not Asante Samuel Jr. No, he was there last year. He probably knows a little bit about him, but Michael Davis for sure, he knows that Michael Davis has enough speed to recover, but a lot of the times his technique fails him and he's behind, he's in front, he commits penalties, and that he's going to understand how to use that against them. And he knows the safeties, quite frankly. He's played against Nasser Adderley and Alohi Gilman, who obviously, it is what it is. I don't have to say much about it, but Tyreek Hill, he's probably licking his chops, especially seeing what Devontae Adams did. He said, he's like Matthew McConaughey. Those are rookie numbers. Those are rookie numbers. You got to get them up. Got to give them up. Those are soft. Those are too low. But it's gonna be interesting because what do you do? Seriously, you can't stick one-on-one. You can't, and who knows? Hell, he might beat the two if they try and double team him. He might beat that too. So it's going to be interesting. You've got to wrap up against them. You've got to frustrate him. You can't give him any free releases. You got to throw off the timing. That's the biggest thing when he's trying to route run. You got to throw off the timing and check him at every level that he goes to.
So here we go. Going back to what I said about Jim Hill. Here's where Jim Hill asked Brandon Staley about how he feels with everything going on in the conference and obviously they're a couple of plays away or a couple of games away from making the playoffs.
So far this year, your record indicates that there's still a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's getting a little bit brighter.
Yeah, we're game out in the AFC. We got to search to play our best football down the stretch and find that formula each week. And I think that's what we've had to do all season is really week to week. We've really had to adapt every week to a new week. And that's how the NFL is. And that's how this week's going to be versus Miami, is finding that formula for this game with the group that we have that's going to be at the game. So we're going to be working hard at practice, get our team back physically for this game, and then go try to play our best.
How have you managed your frustration? How have you managed your frustration?
You just know it's part of the NFL. You do it as a team. You don't do it alone. You surround yourself with a tremendous coaching staff, with a tremendous group of players. And I think that's how you build a team to get through the NFL season. And so I like who we get to compete with every time we go out there. And we've needed so many people to do that this year. And so there is a bright spot that way that we've really learned about a lot of our players through this season, and hopefully we can get more back here down the stretch and like I said, play our best ball.
So there you have it from Brandon. I mean, obviously there has been there's no, he's not hiding it. There has been frustration. Obviously they're 6-6. They should be a lot better. They could be a lot worse. But really, I mean, if it wasn't for Justin Herbert, I really do think that they'd be a lot worse off, especially with some of the games that Justin's kind of been able to pull out.
Especially because like, if you look at some of those 6, all games they should have won.
Yeah,
maybe not all of them, but like games they should have been in, games they should have finished.
The only 2 games that they got blown out are Seattle and Jacksonville.
Yeah, which even then I can't believe they got blown out by those 2 teams. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, no, and I mean it has been difficult. It has been a strange season. But I mean, that's how you go. Speaking of which, he did ask about he did say about trying to get some players back. Just so you folks know, whoever's listening, Joey Bosa, he said status quo. So that means that as of right now, Joey Bosa will not be he won't be running out of that tunnel, and the announcer will not be announcing him Joey Bosa on Sunday. So that's interesting. Corey Linsley's still in the concussion protocol. But Brandon said that he's progressing well. They just don't want to say more because obviously he's in concussion protocol. You don't want to give away too much because you don't want to pressure the player into coming back, which I totally understand. What else did he give us? He said that Mike Williams should be practicing this week. So that's a good sign for the offense. He said Trey Pipkins will not be at practice Thursday when they go full. So we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, I already told you about Derwin. Sebastian Joseph Day will be day-to-day with his knee sprain. Saw him in the locker room, saw him limping a little bit. Not too bad, though. So that's an interesting that was interesting. And then just a quick review of who and this again, this is on Wednesday. DNPs did not practice were Trey Pipkins, Sebastian Joseph Day, and Derwin James. Everybody else was either limited or full. So Bryce Callahan limited. That's a good sign. Zion Johnson limited with the shoulder. I know people were like limited. I'm like, but that's kind of a good sign. Kenneth Murray hamstring limited. That's a good sign. Mike Williams limited with an ankle. So these guys are probably leaning more towards maybe could go, but obviously I don't want to make any assumptions. But it's a good sign if on Wednesday they're limited instead of DMP because that just means that the guys are feeling better. So obviously, one of the big things about this week, everybody's going to be talking about it. Justin Herbert, Tua Tagovailoa, same draft class. In my opinion, the reason why this one's so loud, to be completely honest, is because it feels like Joe Burrow separated himself a little bit from these guys. 100%. He's made it to the Super Bowl. He's taken down Kansas City 3 times in a row. He's 3-0 against them. Yep. He's really come in and he's done a good job. So Joe Burrow has kind of separated himself. So now everybody asks themselves about Tua and about Justin Herbert. And in the draft class, in whatever draft class you're in, you don't want to be the quarterback that doesn't win a Super Bowl. You don't want to be the quarterback that the other fellas in the draft class do win a Super Bowl. a la Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers never won a Super Bowl, but everybody would say if you put Phillip Rivers on the Giants or on the Pittsburgh Steelers, they probably win more Super Bowls because of how talented he is.
6.
And same thing back when, well, I guess you wouldn't say that. What was the draft class of 84? It was Jim Kelly, John Elway, and there was one other one.
Maybe there was one. I don't.
Or it was
I can't even think of it. I was like, damn, you're going really far back over here.
83 draft. Okay, yeah, here he goes. Here's the 83 draft. It's John Elway, Jim Kelly, and it was Dan Marino.
There you go. Yeah.
Class. But the only ones that won a Super Bowl were
John Elway.
John Elway. Wow, you could have drafted Bruce Smith to be your left tackle. Bruce Matthews. Wow, that would have been that. Well, you took Billy Ray Smith, who was great guy, great human being.
Shout out, that guy's awesome. Met him.
I've always loved Billy Ray. Billy Ray will crush your hand when you shake his hand. Yeah. Billy Ray Smith. I remember when I was an intern doing Charger games and stuff, I'd always see him and I'd be like, "Hey, Billy Ray, how you doing?" Hey, like, there's my special guy. And then I'm like, and his wife one time told me, "No, you're actually a special guy." And I was like, "Oh, really?" She's like, "Yeah, no, he doesn't call anybody else that." And I was like, "Oh, Kimberly Hunt from Fox or from ABC 10, very nice lady. She's well,
you remember we used to listen to him on the radio all the time going to school.
Exactly.
Mind you, I was half asleep. You were listening.
Yeah, so Billy Ray would always like I'd always go in to like say hi to him. He'd always crush my hand. Yeah. He'd be like, "What's the matter?" I'm like, "Nothing." "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yep, we're good."
He's like, "I still got
really it." Sure. I'm like, "Yep," and then he just started laughing. "You're turning a little red there," and I'm like, "Nope, I'm good." But yeah, going back to this, obviously Tua and Herbert will be compared. As of right now, I truly believe that Justin Herbert has been the better quarterback. He's proven a lot of himself. The thing is that, and when folks kind of critique and say, "Oh, you're just homers," and that, no, that's not it. The thing is, Justin Herbert's been available. Justin Herbert's played in every single game since he started, and that's not a knock on Tua. That's just been bad luck. Is Tua having a better season this year? Statistically, no, but in a sense, but like with his weapons and everything, of course, he has better weapons than Justin's had this year. And for Charger fans who are about to come at me, remember Mike and Keenan have been hurt most of the season, so that's why I'm saying. Like I saw a stat on Justin, he's 4th in the NFL in passing yards and has no receiver near the 30th, near the top 30 in receiving yards. How the hell do you do that?
Exactly.
That just means that you're a hell of a quarterback. But
that's my thing. Roll the tape. Tape doesn't lie between the two. The tape doesn't lie.
Yeah. So basically, Brandon Staley said that. Brandon Staley basically, like, we asked him, "Do you feel like Justin has gotten better this year than he has last year?" And this is what Brandon had to say about Justin. And remember, this is just about Justin. This isn't a comparison. We're just asking him from Justin of last year to Justin of this year. Has he improved? And this is what Brandon had to say. I know you'll hear that voice. You know that voice.
He's a lot better player. Not even close. Not even close. Not even close. Every game he improves, and production is a very misleading way to judge somebody in terms of just their raw numbers. It's how they're playing and what they've gone through, and he's getting better every single week at becoming a pro quarterback. And he's playing at a very high level for us right now. The last 3 weeks, really since the bye, playing at a very high level for us, is practicing well, playing better and better. And, his best football is out there for him down the stretch.
You talked about his ball security multiple times over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well, I think that's my boy.
Beyond that part of it, I mean, how do you think he's handling the pressure? I mean, are there plays where you feel like he could have done something differently or avoid a sack or get rid of the ball?
There you go.
Is there any cumulative effect to what's happened in the last, say, 3 weeks where the sacks is big?
No, I mean, number one, he's not taking sacks. I think that there's, that would imply that he's holding on to the ball or something like that. And that's not what's happening. He's making very good decisions. You got to judge a quarterback by their decision making. And I think that's number one with a quarterback is that there's a decision to be made on it, every play for him. When he gets a play call, hey, is there a run, a kill, an alert on this play? Hey, if it's a pass or an RPO, hey, am I going through this progression? Am I making the right decision? And that's the thing that I think, when you look at his being able to protect the football, I think that's something that truly makes him special. Is he's a very good decision maker, and that gives you a chance in every game. We're +4 in the NFL in takeaway margin right now. We're +4. We're in the top 5 in the NFL. And what that does is it gives you a chance to win every game that you play, regardless of what your injury report is that if you are going to hang in there in that place, you will have a chance in every game that you play. And beyond how special of a passer he is, special of a player he is, he's an outstanding decision maker. And he's really given us a chance in all these games that have been super tight here. Since the bye, they've all been tight games. And you have to have premium decision makers in order to have a chance to finish at the end.
100% is true. He does protect the football well, which is what I just wish he would throw the ball away faster sometimes. I think sometimes because he's trying to make a play. But it's not another day. You don't need to get hit and taken to the ground. That's just my humble opinion.
No, I completely agree. And I mean, that's the thing. He's gonna have to keep on learning as he grows. I mean, we forget he's only in his
third year, right?
Yeah, so he's definitely gonna keep on growing. It would suck if he doesn't make the playoffs for the third straight year, really, because I think that him in the playoffs would be a lot of fun to
I thought you were about to say another P word. I was about to say, you think Tom Brady plays for Pro Bowls for now?
No, I don't say Pro Bowl. No,
I'd
like to see him in the playoffs and see what he's all about. But obviously, 100%. We'll see more on that. Let's head over to a fantasy player to watch. Dan,
100%. Right off the bat, I don't even have to think about it. It has to be Wilson and Mozart, the Miami running backs. If I am Mike McDaniel, I am pounding the rock, RPOing, play action, the whole freaking game. I am not dropping
He's
back
gonna be there?
a single time. Who?
The most electrifying move in all of sports entertainment. The most electrifying. You said The Rock. Is he?
You mean the overrated man? You mean the overrated man? The bad actor? The even worse wrestler? Because you know what Austin 316 says. Austin 316 says, I just whooped your ass.
All right, go. But my bad. I interrupted you.
That's all right. That's all right. We all know Stone Cold Steve Austin's better. That's all right. That's all right. That's what I'm doing. Oh my God. Do not get me started on John Cena, Frank. You do not want this right now.
No.
Do not do this. But anyway, obviously not a big John Cena fan, not a big Rock fan, just FYI. Even worse with your hand signals. Get out of here. But anyway, that's what I'm doing the whole time. I am going heavy. I'm going spread. I'm going all over the place in different formations, and I'm going to pound the rock in the A gap, in the B gap, outside zone, inside zone, counter, trap, power. I'm doing it all. These running backs are going to have a career day. That's what my game plan would be if I'm Mike McDaniel with the stunner shades and the rolly on his wrist or whatever he wears that looks nice. That is what I'm doing all game.
I'm going to go Tyreek Hill. I think Tyreek Hill is going to have a big game. I really the Chargers didn't know how to stop. It's like in semi-pro. Hey Nets, you're not going to stop it. We can barely stop it during practice.
Yeah, exactly. With Coffee Black, or what was his name?
Coffee Black. Yeah, exactly. So what Terrence?
He's going to get me over the line this week again in fantasy?
I think he will. I think he's going to have a big game. I just Michael Davis to me. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to continue further.
If let's just say this, right? Let's just say this. If Michael Davis, I think he's all right. I think he's good.
I think he has.
What about the people behind him? I think he's better. I think he's better than the people behind him.
Well, no, yeah, but I mean, but he's still he leaves you he leaves you wanting more. There's times 100%. Where you're like, oh, okay,
100%.
Yeah.
Bro, the guy is 6'something", elite speed that could probably keep up with Tyreek Hill. Long arms. He's everything you want in a prototype. The only problem is the technique's not there. The mentality's not there. And I mean, It is what it is. By the way, when I mean behind them, I meant the safeties, not behind them in corner, obviously.
Who is your X Factor?
X Factor 100%. I'm going to go with it again. Actually, no, I don't know if I picked them last week, but I'm picking them this week. It is the Chargers offensive line because I assume, obviously, you know what to say about assume, Frown makes an ass out of you and me, but I'm going to roll with that Corey Linsley isn't going to play. So if you're Will Clapp, you have got to be on the same page as the offensive coordinator, but more importantly, your quarterback. You cannot have any more of these protection breakdowns where you have guys coming free in the A gaps, coming free off the edge, and you have guys just sitting there smoking and joking at a barbecue, and they didn't invite their quarterback because he just got killed. You know what I mean? That is going to be my biggest thing. If you can protect Herbert, if you can be efficient in the run game, that's going to be the biggest key to victory, because obviously what you want to do in every game, especially with explosive players like they have, you have got to keep them off the field. And the other thing I'm going to say is, can you win the third quarter? I think the third quarter is their biggest weakness. They have no idea what to do in the third quarter. That's my thing. Can you finally start scoring points in the third quarter? First, this is a must-win game, like I said last week. This is a must-win game because it's in conference. It's a team that's ahead of you, and you lose another game in conference, your season might be over. Who knows? I know mathematically this witchcraft, that witchcraft. I have no idea. I've seen this team before. The thing is, you have got to win those crucial games, and you haven't been able to. You haven't been able to notice those moments where you're like, the lights turn on. Hey, now it's time to take over the game. Hey, now it's time to take over the division. And, that's going to be the biggest thing we're going to find out on Sunday under the lights.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'll say Keenan Allen has a big game. I don't think he's played in front of the fans in a while, so I'm sure he's going to be. Oh, no, he did against Kansas City. Never mind. But I'll say he has a big game in front of SoFi, and he has a big one. So I'm going to say the X factor is Keenan Allen. Prediction, Dan.
I think it's going to be tight. I think they do this weird thing.
That's what she said.
You're a terrible person. You're a terrible human being with these sound bites. Gosh, dang it. But I think it's going to be a close game, Frown. Thank you very much. I forget about that because I say all these things, people at the high school. And, of course,
now go Chargers, go.
There you go, with more garbage. And these guys take the double entendre and run with it. And I don't realize it until too late. And I'm like, gosh,
that's what she said.
Damn these kids. Damn these kids in the double entendres. But anyway, I think it's going to be a close game. I just don't think the Chargers are going to pull it off. I think Miami's going to win this game. I think they're either going to win it one of two ways. It's not my fault. I'm being realistic. I'm trying to be realistic. I think they're going to lose because I think they've played better football more consistently in the season. I just think they came up against a good 49er team. And hell, anyone's going to look off a good 49er team, especially because the protege played the master. So that's an even bigger thing. But, I don't know. I think it could get ugly on Sunday. I have no idea under the lights.
Well, the Chargers haven't been blown out yet underneath the lights. They usually have pretty entertaining games and folks have fun with it. But I definitely I'll say the Chargers do lose this game. I'll say the Dolphins are going to win, but I'll say Justin Herbert outplays Tua Tagovailoa.
He does that on a week-to-week basis, Frown. He doesn't have to do it in a head-to-head.
Well, no, I know, but I'm just saying, I'm just saying, I think Justin will have a.
One thing I want to say,
Justin has good games, and it's like they still can't pull it off, and it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Shit fire. You know how it goes. But one thing I will say, do not listen to the Stooges on national TV after this game trying to pour on manure on the son of Odin, God of lightning. Because I'll tell you one thing, if he was on Miami, he'd be throwing 10,000 yards this season. It'd be crazy.
You think so?
100%. I don't doubt it. I'd go lock. It's a lock. How do I make it look like a lock? It's a lock. 10,000 yards if he was on that team.
10,000. That's hilarious.
10,000.
What? Yeah, no. I mean, it's gonna be an interesting game. I'm honestly wondering because it's like you said, like he could literally, this could literally be, they could be fighting for the season on this game just because of everything going on and
100%.
and everything. So I'm definitely.
I'll tell you one thing: if the Jets, the Patriots, and I don't know who else is ahead of them, or even the Raiders, if they win, I'm not punting. You got to go for it. It's
you'll find out. You'll find out with the Raiders because of they play on Thursday Night Football. So
yeah, it's a make or break.
So this is, in fact, I honestly feel like no matter what, this is always your quarterback. Every game.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's the son of Odin right there. 100%. That dude's a dog.
Well, we appreciate you guys so much for catching another episode of What's Up, Bolts. Definitely appreciate all the love. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, be a compa, tell a compa about What's Up, Bolts. And don't forget to tell your compas about House of Horns. Obviously, hoping that Vic, the producer, gets better. I will be jumping on with Gilbert again after the Thursday night game, Raiders and Rams, to break it down with Gilbert while Vic gets better. And then obviously don't forget to check out regular Compas on the Beat. Our regular episode. Are the Eagles the top team in the NFC, or is there somebody else creeping up? Are the Bengals the kryptonite of the Kansas City Chiefs? Joe Burr is 3-0 against the Chiefs. So is Gilbert getting nervous about his beloved Chiefs? Well, we'll see about that. And don't forget to check out Compas FC, guys. We've done another show. We've created another show because we know how many soccer fanatics there are in San Diego. Not just San Diego, not just Los Angeles, not just California, but in the whole country. We know how many soccer fans there are. We hope you'll rock with the show. We hope you'll check it out. If you guys like it, we're talking all World Cup. Messi and Ronaldo, who's more likely to make it to the semis after some of the performances? We break it all down. We give you our prediction. And again, like I said, if you guys like the show, we will continue it during the EPL, La Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A, and even the Farmers League down there in France. Exactly. We'll break down everything Champions League. Even Europa League is going to be very interesting this year. So
Arsenal.
If you guys like it, you guys let us know. And don't forget to check out Combat Compas. We have interviews with Tyson Fury, or not with Tyson Fury, sorry, with Deontay Wilder about
are we getting some inside baseball?
Huh?
Some leaks?
No. I wish we could get Tyson Fury. That'd be awesome. Who knows? Maybe we'll work on it. But we have had Deontay Wilder, Ryan Garcia, Andy Ruiz, and many others. Check out those interviews. Andy Ruiz talks about the potential of fighting Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder talks about a possible fourth fight against Tyson Fury. So that'll be interesting. But we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Don't forget, be a compa, tell a compa. We appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your week.